recorded.
Hey, man, welcome to the call, everybody. Take two. Welcome all of you guys that made it to the call. I'm so glad. Those of you guys that are still with me and don't want to hang up the phone, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Totally did a big old blooper just a second ago. We just ran down the street, completely forgot to push the buttons, forgot about Natasha, forgot about Terry, Patrick, everybody. Oh my gosh. Maybe I should have sat. Maybe I need to listen to my own Bible study again. Maybe that's what I need to do. Anyway, Natasha, take the floor. How are you? I'm so glad you're here, by the way.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be here. I just want to welcome everybody. And, I hope that y'all are having a great day. As today is, what is today? February the 3rd. Already?
Buck Rogers time, 2025.
2025.
Right?
But before we get started, But before we get started, I just want to let everybody know that we're not here to hurt anybody's feelings. It's for entertainment purposes only. And it's not legal advice at all. We're just here to let y'all know what we've actually personally went through and to share all the good news. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Here to inspire. That's right. Welcome, everybody that made it to the call. Michael's on view only here, but he'll come back in a second. Michael, you got to hit those little clicks. If you don't hit those little clicks in the beginning and you skip them, it takes you to view only. It does it every time. Anyway, all of you guys, welcome to the call. I'm so glad you guys are here. Natasha, it was funny, Natasha. I was going to post this. I was going to repost this today, and I actually tried to numerous times. And Meta is not having it. They just said no. Like nothing, like really no. So I'm going to read it to you guys since I can't post it. And maybe we still have freedom of speech and maybe it's just freedom of pictures we lost. I don't know. Something like that happened. But anyway, and this is one of the things that we're going to be talking about in the upcoming, holy cow, there it is. Okay, I thought it got disappeared from there too. This is what we're going to be talking about in the upcoming travel and driving class. Yes, you're going to learn how to beat tickets and know how to go in there and do all that stuff in court and, all that stuff that happens on YouTube. You'll actually win. And I'll explain to you how that works and all that stuff. Yes, all that's true. But the big part of this class, which is what I really like to get into, is to help people understand the psychology of who you're dealing with. And here it is, you guys. You guys can see it. You guys probably can't see it very well. Never mind. I tried. There we go. Now you still can't see it. I don't know. We're not there yet. We're almost there with this technology stuff, but we're just not there yet. Anyway, maybe we are. Maybe I'm not there. I don't know. But anyway, it says, why do narcissists join the police? Whoa. See, this is some heavy stuff. We're going to be talking about the psychology of the stop. What are these guys thinking on the other side? Because if you know what they're doing, you know what you should be doing. Because you know where all the game pieces are on the board. And that's the point of this call, or the point of this workshop, is to give you guys some information. And like this, why do narcissists join the police? Did you know that most cops are narcissists? They play head games. They always play the victim. Oh, you put the public in danger. Oh, he threw a cigarette butt at my car. I remember that when I was like a kid. I had some cop pull me over because I threw a cigarette butt at his car. And he acted like I knocked down the Twin Towers or something. He really did. He really was all excited. And he was very excited. And he was owning every bit of that. And this is a game, okay? This is witchcraft, okay? Anyway, this little ad right here that they won't let me repost, I'm going to read it to you guys. And it's really interesting. It says, like I said, it says power. The number one reason why they join, Natasha, is power. And that's because people like me probably took their milk money away when they were kids. But anyway, now they put their Dungeons and Dragons stuff away, okay? And they've stopped eating paste by now, you could hope. And this is what this article says, and it's really good. This is on this is from narcissist.com, by the way. If you guys want to look this up, it's pretty good. Anyway, power. Narcissists love power, and joining the police is often the easiest way to achieve it. This is often shown in videos of police harassing members of the public. Yeah, that's true. I mean, how many times have you guys ever heard that term? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's almost like a cliche. You know what I mean? When people say that. And then the second thing, and this is only for narcissists. So those of you guys that aren't narcissists or you're still in denial about it, This is not for you. Just keep flipping. It's okay. Drama. These guys love drama. Why do you think Cops is the #1 watch show in America? It actually is, and has been for a long time. And it is the #1 premium show watched in every jail in America. Okay. So Cops love drama, and people watch Cops because they like to watch the drama, you know? And it says narcissists love drama, and police work provides this. And even when it doesn't, they can provoke people into dramatic exchanges. We're going to talk about this in this class. This is all very true. Public facade. This is that covert narcissist we're talking about now. Public facade. Narcissists want to be liked and trusted because they knew nobody liked them and trusted them before. Yes, that's right. They were undependable. But anyway, so they often gravitate to jobs which imply that they're an upstanding citizen, even when they're far from it. And I'm not saying that they're all this way, okay? But Natasha, I see cops kind of like bulldogs, or not bulldogs, pit bulls. You got that group of pit bulls that's over there in the corner. Look, they're with the kids, and they're nice, and then everything happens, and the next thing you know, some kid got their face chewed off by one. And I kind of see that kind of same exchange. This is for entertainment purposes only, so you guys don't get excited out there. It's calm down. We're gonna get there. And if I have any officers that are watching me today, and I just may, good for you. Listen, we're gonna be telling these people what you guys are doing. I'm gonna show them how you guys gaslight people into committing crimes. This happens a lot. Okay, and it's all done in the fairness of solving crimes when we're creating crimes. And this is why this group of people keeps getting hired doing this job, because they know that they're going to maintain this public facade at all costs. Even if you show them that they're wrong, Natasha, they're still going to look you right in the eye and they're going to lie. I'm going to tell you, I watched the former police chief of Houston County, Texas. And I say former because he definitely is former. He was done when we saw him. But anyway, he looked like he'd been sitting on the couch for a long time. Anyway, he came into the hearing last year. And when he came in there, my attorney just busted him. I mean, busted this guy so many times. And yet he showed them, it doesn't matter what it was about, but he showed them. And he said, did you want me to rewind the tape? I can show you again. And they still stick to their story. So understand, maintaining this public facade is a big part of, #1, why they get hired, and #2, how they keep their jobs. Okay? Because they're constantly really just living a lie. They're really just full of it. Another reason that these guys like to join the police department is they like to avoid accountability. I'm going to tell you, the last interaction I had with a police officer, Natasha, this guy wrote me this. So, you know what? I'm not even going to say what police department what it was, but I'll tell you all about it in class. I may just tell you all about it tonight. It was actually pretty good. Anyway, the last cop that wrote me a ticket was in Converse, Texas. Okay. And this guy wrote me a ticket for failing to yield the right of way. And according to his interpretation, there was no accident that happened. So I don't know how you could fail to yield the right of way without an accident or colliding with another car, because otherwise you did yield the right of way, or something happened that was right. So he knew he was full of it, but he decided he wanted to just escalate things. And then he started getting really aggressive with me and getting in my face and talking crazy to me. Meanwhile, I got praise music going on in the car. And I'm just smiling at him while he's, I'm going to pray for you. And I'm just loving this guy. That's the best thing you can do, by the way. If you ever get pulled over, put praise music on. Because let me tell you something. You're dealing with pure darkness. You're dealing with pure witchcraft, Natasha, because these people are trained to gaslight you. These people are trained to get you to tell it on yourself. And did you know that that's a violation of the Fifth Amendment? The Fifth Amendment says that you cannot testify against yourself, nor can any officer or public office trick you or coerce you into doing it. That in itself is a civil violation. Most people don't know that. but it's there. It's in our Fifth Amendment. Go read it. I'm telling you, it's there. But anyway, so this is one of the things is they avoid accountability. And when I explained to him the logistics of the ticket, the logistics of why he thinks he's writing this ticket, and I told him, you're out of town on this one, man. You're way out of town. I said, brother, I teach this for a living. And then he got more and more aggressive with me, and he got really upset with me and this and that. And I asked him after he got done huff puff puffing, I asked him if that made him feel any better. Did you want me to cry or get scared or cower down in the seat while you're doing this? Would that make you feel better so we could get through this a little faster, officer? It's because I know these guys are playing games. I'm not being disrespectful, okay? When somebody's being disingenuous to you, they themselves are being disrespectful. Your job is Ephesians 5:11. Simple as this. If you see it, expose it. If you see somebody playing these games with you and they're doing this Darvo stuff to you on the side of the road, call them on their behavior. Why are you gaslighting me? Why would you well, I'm not gaslighting you. Okay, let's talk about that, officer. If you're not gaslighting me, how come you said blah, blah, blah to get a reaction out of me? Why did you say that? Everything changes at that point. Now they're going to go into full defensive. Now they're going to act like they're 10. They're going to stomp on the floor out there, right out in the middle of traffic. I guarantee you. They're going to stomp on the floor out there. And if you're a young kid, make sure you have a camera on, because at that point, then they think they can just beat you up. And that's generally where this stuff goes after that. So be very careful, okay? You need to be nice and old, established, have people that will miss you if you're gone, stuff like that. Stuff like, because I know Natasha will come looking for me at some point, especially if I'm missing for like a week or two. She'll probably make a phone call, at least something, so make sure you got some people like that in your life so that, in case you say something, and these are things that I talk about in my class. Where's a safe place to be pulled over at? Nobody's invited. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, but nobody's invited to this call except for Natasha. She is the only lady on this call tonight. That's it. Anybody else, you'll have to make an appointment. Anyway, see, you got your spot. Anyway, forever. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that these people like to avoid accountability. And when you know this right off the bat, you know exactly what you're dealing with, okay? And what happens is that you're not falling under the guise of, oh, they're going to do something bad to me. You're understanding what's going on. Your eyes are open. You can see. This is the point of this class, okay? Here's the other reason that they'd like to join too over here on narcissist.com. This is what they're saying too. It says the top 5 reasons why they like to join. I'm sure there's more than this, but anyway, the top 5 reasons. Number 5 is narcissist. Oh, it's to be a hero. That's right. They'd like to watch all those movies. Probably like to watch Chips. I bet you they should be watching Chips. They might learn something, but I bet you they watch all those movies with the dogs and go and train them. And I've noticed this because with my service animal, every time I'm around the cops or police or in courtrooms and stuff like that, and they see how good he is, oh, they melt. Oh, they melt. Like the Messiah himself just walked into the courthouse. And it's super sweet. Don't get me wrong. It's super sweet, but it just shows you where these guys are. Okay. They're really gentle people. Okay. The problem is that they're very defensive, and they've been taught to go in and push and program on the public to see if something rattles loose. Like when they say stuff like, do you know how fast you were going? I'm just like, that's a messed up question, and I'm telling you what, and I teach this in my class. I tell people this, and this is something, that it's done now. I'm letting it out of the bag. I'm just going to let another little nugget out, but it's fine. And David's going to lose his mind when he hears this. But listen, the best thing that you can do is de-escalate. Don't tell these people how much you know. Show them how much you know, okay? And we have to understand that these guys operate in equity. And in my class, I'm going to go into more detail about that. And if you guys out here have questions about any of this stuff, ask questions, okay? So these guys like to be the hero. It says narcissists grandiosely makes them want to be a big hero and do some good work. And to achieve this, but ultimately it's self-serving. So yeah, they want to be heroes and stuff, but it's like, look what I did. Here's a selfie. You know what I mean? And they're self-serving. And you'll hear it. You'll hear it when they talk about their stories and things like this. And you notice that cops don't intermingle with other people. Like if you have, you have a friend that's a cop, right? Everybody's surprised. We say that. It's almost a cliche. Oh, you know somebody. Oh. And it's because these people are the people that nobody talked to in the first place. And they have to get jobs somewhere. Okay. We're going to talk more in my class how to deal with these people. Okay. And what the problem is that they present themselves as this, but they're really just this. Okay. And if you're doing something wrong, they're going to catch you. Okay. So I'm not talking to the people that are doing stuff wrong. I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to the people that are, getting pulled over and harassed because you're too brown, you're too black, you're too tall, you're too fat, you're too short, whatever reason they pull you over in their neighborhood. If this is your thing and you've got this kind of stuff going on in your neighborhood, this is the class for you. And once you start learning this knowledge and you start understanding where all the players are in this game, you're not going to be a victim anymore. You're not going to have stories. You're going to have stories of, yeah, this and this and this happened, and that was it. And then what happens is once they figure out that you're that guy or you're that girl, they put a little check mark somewhere. I swear they do. And as soon as they run your plates, I mean, you could see it in the way that they drive because they'll be all in on you and they'll be, oh, yeah. And they're all over there typing it up over there. You know what I mean? And you see their eyes looking at you, looking at them, looking at you, looking at them. And they're typing up more stuff. And then their eyebrows start going up in the air and you're like, oh, damn it, I'm going to get pulled over now. And then, oh, it's Tim Dameron. And then they leave. How does that happen? I'm going to show you how that happens in my class. I'm going to show you how to get on that list. And I'm not talking about that government watch list. I'm talking about the list that says that person's awake, leave them alone. Natasha, there's a big discussion out there about right to travel. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, people say, do we have the right to travel? I think we do. You muted. There you go.
Yeah, I double clicked it. So I think we do have a right to travel.
Absolutely.
But I think there's certain circumstances that there's a lot of information out there that's incorrect that are getting people in trouble. For me, it was, I don't have to register my vehicle. I don't have to have a driver's license, but you correct me if I'm wrong. You do need to have all that. You do need to comply with that, correct?
Well, you do, because here's the misconception. The misconception is that now you're commingling your public and your private. Well, you're really not. People have the belief that that the driver's license is some kind of ticket to the slave camp or something. You know what I'm saying? They do, and they believe that. And here's what I want you guys to consider, all of you guys that are listening tonight. You're commingling public and private. And whenever you do that, it's a problem. So you have to ask yourself when you're traveling, it's not about the tags. It's not about having a driver's license or not having a driver's license. I mean, all those things are important. It's not about that. What it is it's about, are you traveling publicly? Or are you traveling privately? And when you see somebody pulled over on the side of the road, I'm here to tell you, I don't care how private they think they are. That's pretty darn public. It's a public display of emergency lights saying, hey. And all your friends are driving by going, no. Especially if you grew up with any of my friends. They'd stop and laugh at you and then like burn off, But
yeah,
it's not very private.
Yeah. And also too, the thing with, insurance too, but, you do need insurance on your vehicle, because even though you're traveling, you do need to sometimes be in commerce, and when do you need to do that? And I think that's, where a lot of people, like you were talking about, get the misconception. of whenever I need to be private and whenever I need to step into that role and take over my straw man and go into commerce,
That's
if
right.
there's an accident or anything like that, to where if I'm going to the grocery store and I might be speeding, is that, you're, am I, endangering property? Am I endangering person? And there's another one, but we're not going to talk about that. Um,
That's for class. There's three of them.
so
There really is three of them, though. There really is three of them. That this is the, hold on. We got to stop on this. We got a little bookmark there. So there's three reasons that people say you should be in court, and most of your teachers out there, like Natasha is saying, only know two of them, and that's: did you hurt anybody, or did you hurt any property, or did you destroy any property? Oh well, then these are commercial crimes and this and this and this. What if I told you there's one more category? There's one more category. You're gonna have to take my class to figure that out. But there's one more category, and you know what? You'll never. It'll just hit you in the back of the head. Like you'll be like, yeah, I guess that is a category. But I mean, it's right out here in the front of us. Okay, and understand, all these folks out there that do that kind of stuff. They're commingling the straw man. They're commingling the straw man with the living person. And the problem is that the living person doesn't really have the proper vehicle to go from here to here. So we are able to move and go from point A to point B anywhere you want to. Nobody is going to stop you from buying a plane ticket, unless you're Kenny Plaster. But anyway, nobody's going to stop you from buying a plane ticket or a bus ticket or any other ticket, even the ticket to the little how you say it just left my head and I can't think of it now. No, if you wanted a ticket to an amusement park, okay? I mean, these are all, nobody's going to restrict your travel. And I think that some people believe that there's some I don't know, agenda out there to restrict everybody from travel because they keep running around saying, "Oh, we have a right to travel." Oh, we know. I mean,
and
when you think about it, it's kind of silly, really.
yeah, and it kind of goes, for me, it kind of goes back to, we're a slave and we need to repudiate our nationality and this and that and the other. That way we're not, told what to do and stuff like that. But you have all the freedom in the world, and this here is what actually gives your freedom to be able to travel in the private, but also too, whenever you need to step out and go into that straw man entity and be able to do commerce, I mean,
Right.
it's what gives you the right and the privilege to do everything that you need to do. But the main thing is understanding where you belong in what situation is the way I look at it.
And here's the other part of that, Natasha. It gives you the ability also to receive these things.
Hmm.
Fearless Floyd, you guys might know who that guy is. He pulled that, I don't know, no driver's license, I'll have no insurance, and I'll have no plates on my car, and I'll have no green eggs, and Sam I am, and all that stuff came out, right? Well, he had an accident, totaled his car. He didn't have insurance. He didn't have tags. He didn't have a driver's license. And he wasn't eligible to get his car fixed either. So because he wasn't ready to do commerce, he also wasn't ready to receive it either. And it really set him back. And if you talk to Fearless Floyd today, he will tell you, you know what? That was completely the wrong way to go. So what I'm saying is what you're going to learn in this class is you're going to learn how to master these things. Okay. We're going to talk about the driver's license. It's a bond. Why would you throw away a bond? Why wouldn't you just learn how to use it? Did I say you could go down and go shopping with it? I didn't say that. I said learn how to use it. And if we learn how to use it and we understand how it's used, then you're the controller of that destiny. It's when we don't understand it and we don't know how to use it, it's when everybody else steps in and they're in control. And this started, Natasha, when we started filling out applications.
Yep.
It did.
Because we're begging. Yeah.
Would you say that one more time? What now? Listen, everybody.
Because we're begging.
Now, begging. Application means begging? No, it doesn't. Did you make that up? No, she
No.
didn't make that up. She did make that up. I'm totally playing a role right now. But seriously, tell us about that, really. Because these guys need to hear it because it's important. What about applications? What did we learn? And now we have the tax, not the tax equity discharge, but the credit, debt, and foreclosure class that I teach. What do we talk about in that class regarding that?
That one there is so whenever you basically either go down to the bank or go get a personal loan or anything like that, you're actually filling out an application and you're basically essentially saying, I need this money, and you're begging for it. And they're saying, okay, so here it is. And these are the stipulations, your interest rate, and, all that good stuff. And you're actually considered the borrower. Yeah. And they put you under contract and, and you have a little bitty space and you're actually considered the borrower and, and they got you. And that's what you did is you went and you begged for all that.
So when we do this with, say, a vehicle registration application, because that's what we're going to be talking about in the travel class. When you fill out that vehicle registration application, do you wonder why the state took legal title to your vehicle? Because you gave it to them. Because you begged them and said, hey, I can't manage my own affairs. I'm going to fill out this paperwork and y'all going to do it for me. And then you filled out a limited power of attorney with your finance manager. I know because I used to be one. And that guy, you gave him a power of attorney with your application so that he could go and transfer the title for you. Do you see how we've handed our power over? And we don't know how to get it back. I'm going to show you how to get that power back. Those of you guys that want to talk about the MSOs, MCOs, I'm going to show you how to get a real one and get the real one back. Okay. I said back. Yes, they destroy them. That's exactly right. They go in and they get destroyed. So how are you going to get them back, Natasha, if they're destroying them? Tim Dameron's not making any sense again. Don't tell them. She knows. You remember why? You remember why, right? Just give me a wave if you remember why. You remember why? Okay, great. So if you come take my class, I'm going to show you guys how that happens. I'm going to show you how to get your MSO MCO. Now, guess what's going to happen after you get your MSO MCO? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, in Texas, something we'll talk about too, but this is public knowledge. In Texas, you actually don't have to give over your property to the state in order to get tags here. You don't have to. The state of Texas only requires that you show proof of ownership. So if you are the holder in due course, really, not one of those fake ones with common law in the backseat. Yeah, there's common law right there in the backseat. Not that group. What I'm talking about is I'm talking about the group of folks that are doing this and doing it properly. When you get an actual MSO, which can be done if you buy a car out of state, Natasha, if you buy one out of state and you have it brought into your state, you can get the MSO or MCO and they'll give it to you. If you go and get a custom car like from Lingenfelder or any of these other companies, like Shelby, where you ship off a Mustang over there and then they turn it into something awesome. And then, Lingenfelder have a shop up in Dallas, in the Dallas area up in Texas, and they're really well known for tuning and things like that. So if you get a brand new car and you send it to them and they do all the abracadabra to it and it comes out with 1,000 horsepower and everything's cool, what they're going to do is they're going to issue a new MSO over and above General Motors MSO because of the modifications that they've done. And so in that particular instance, if you were to order a car and they shipped it from, Texas to wherever you live, then yes, you could get the MSO. And if you did have the similar laws like we do here in Texas, you could simply have the MSO. They would put the MSO in your name and you could simply show them the MSO and put it back in, and that's it. End of story. And get tags and everything, and go out on the street. So all that's possible. And if you guys have questions out there about travel, driving, any of this stuff, we're not going to give away my whole class out here, but I'm going to try to answer your questions without being too much of a gatekeeper, I promise. So ask away, man. Ask anything you want. Natasha's here too. She won't put you to sleep. I promise. I will, but she won't. So when we're filling out, when we're doing this stuff, we have to realize that we need to kind of be able to participate in commerce. And the problem is that we really were never taught how to. We never had the right vehicle. And I'm going to tell you, it is all about vehicle. The problem is that we've been, sorry, I'm going to adjust this brightness because I can't see you guys out there very well. There we go. Much better. Let's see. I think I got it. Thank you for being patient, everybody. That's so much better. Anyway, so if you guys have questions, go ahead and fire them off. Those of you guys that are interested in taking this class, this is going to be a 2-day class. Okay. It's going to be the first day. We're going to talk about status. We're going to talk about where you are in the traffic stop. We're going to talk about how to deal with officers that are having bad days. And these kinds of officers, Natasha, what I'm talking about is the ones that like to really escalate. They want to bully you. They feel like they want to use some psychological warfare that they learned in the military on you. They do. This is all the stuff that they do. So the first day, we're going to kind of prepare ourselves for that. We're going to talk about administrative claims. I've done them. I've actually gotten cops fired, quite a few of them, actually. I've actually shut down and defunded an entire sheriff's department in Houston County, Texas. I've done it. And it's because of what they did. Okay. If you guys are in this position and you guys have this problem, you don't have to lay down for nobody. Okay. There's a right side to work on. And if you're operating in the proper way, you're going to knock down all their dominoes, and more than likely they're going to stop. And the purpose of this is to teach you guys how to mitigate these situations. Rarely should anybody have to go in and go sue a police officer. But if you do, we're going to talk about how that's done. We're going to talk about where their bonds are kept. Okay. There's a lot of people out there, Natasha, talking about, go get their bonds, right? How many times do you hear that? You hear that a lot, right?
Quite a bit.
Right.
And I've never really figured out what the purpose of it is, or what are you trying to accomplish? Confused on that, but.
Well, here's the problem. When you don't have a fee schedule, when you walk into a situation and you're live and you don't have yourself, thank you so much. When you walk into a situation like with an officer or in a courtroom, the problem is that we don't have the right stuff to really mesh in there. See, they're doing commerce and they're operating in equity. One of the things that we're going to go over, that we're going to talk about, is we're going to talk about how we need to be operating in equity. And we're going to talk about this ancient jurisdiction that people keep talking about, which is the common law jurisdiction. Where's that at? And how do we get from here to the end of the brick road? We're going to talk about how that actually all works. But in the first day, we're going to talk about the psychology of the stop, where you are in this process, and where you need to be. Okay. Like I said, I think cops are kind of like pit bulls. You got some really good ones and they're great with kids, but every now and then you read about one that, chewed up somebody's face or something, and it's no good. But, people are missing it in this process, Natasha. I feel for everybody that's out there, because I get calls from folks going into ticket court, and, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating because we're just completely ill-equipped to handle this stuff.
Yeah, we were never taught. I grew up with an uncle that was a state trooper, and he always said, you get pulled over, you answer the questions, you take your ticket, and you move on and you pay it. And that's the way we were taught. There was no, so we answered, where are you going? Do you know how fast you were going? Like it was their business.
Hold on just a second. Somebody
said you broke the law.
You sell the land into a trust and record it with a bill of sale with an affidavit of trust. Okay. I don't know. Oh, I think he's responding to something. Need to figure out how to put my land into trust. It's actually very simple. What you need to do is you need to create a trust first, okay? And you need to create a trust is basically a holding company, and basically after that point, basically you just need to convey the property to your trust. So, and I do have a trust class coming up in February. Those of you guys that are interested in taking that class, I don't have a date on it set in February, but I will set one. So if you're interested in doing it, set an appointment with me and I'll take you through the whole process. I'll show you how to set this stuff up in more ways than one. Not just a trust that's going to help you keep your property safe, but it's also going to keep you from getting sued, keep you out of the game, and keep you in the game with the right pieces, with the right materials, with the right stuff. I say this all the time, just because your dog has a dog license doesn't mean you're going to hand him the keys to your car and send him down to go get a 6-pack of beer. We're just not going to do that. So, it just doesn't work that way. Welcome to the call, Abby. Glad you made it. Sure glad you made it. And tonight, like I said, we're talking about travel and driving. You're very welcome. It's always good to have you. The second day, we're going to be talking about nothing but law. Okay. And I'm not giving you legal advice because I don't have to. I've walked this. I've been there, done this on this stuff. I have, and we're going to go through my personal cases. We're going to go through one case where I helped somebody else. Okay. And the reason why we're going to go through that case is because they put it all over the internet saying that they did it. And I'm like, no, they did not. I did it. So typically when I help somebody, I never put anything out in the public, but if you're going to burn me like that, well, then let her burn, baby. So anyway, we're going to go over that. We're going to show you all the, we're going to show you everything on it. So all these cases are 100% verifiable. They actually happened. And what's really cool, Natasha, is that they're going to see this happen. You're going to see us defeat these tickets, but we're going to use the same process each and every time. So once you understand where everything is, you just kind of look at everything like like somebody looking at a fish in a fishbowl. You just kind of sitting about it. Oh, there's one over here, there's one over there. And that's kind of that's kind of the perspective on that. And I know I touched on administrative claims, but I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about how the bond works. How do you get a hold of that thing? And more importantly, what do you do with it after you get it? That's big stuff. What are your thoughts, Natasha, on all this travel stuff?
Well, just from taking the class, for one, my uncle teaching me the wrong things. But I learned that if I do get pulled over, of course, like you said, don't, escalate the situation, how to talk to the cops, but also how they're presenting themselves, how I need to present myself, what to say to them, different things like that. The questions they ask me, again, you kind of go over with the blue lights, so you have your property, you have your, you ask them about your person and then the other one, and, there's just different things that you help us protect ourselves, and you tell us, you do need your energy, you need your driver's license, you do need all this stuff, for whenever you need to be private and, when you need to actually work in commerce, to where I think for those last week or the week before, I had told you about the little guy that had gotten pulled over, and they completely harassed him for no reason, to where if he would have been able to take your class and know the information when he got pulled over, he could have said, no, we're not playing this little game. He could have had it recorded. He could have had, all this and that and the other. So it's just not, because like you said, they're narcissistic, and they're there to kind of bully you.
Somebody that's weak and not prepared.
Yeah. Seriously. And so that's what it is in the class with that, is to prepare you and, teach you how to, protect yourself, in situations and stuff like that. And that's really what I took out of it, and not only that though, to where even if you try to de-escalate the situation and they just keep on and you don't feel safe, what to do about that, sometimes it's best just to take the ticket and fight it later, so
Sure. Well,
so
well, I mean, and sometimes it's better to do that. Sometimes it's better to, sometimes you're not going to say anything magical. I mean, I hear, and it saddens me. It truly does. But when people
yeah.
say stuff about, they do, and they send somebody in there and they tell them to say something, and like it's going to be magic words, and it doesn't conclude anything. You'll notice that it's just like a phrase, and it doesn't say you're icky and I'm not, at the very end of the day. It doesn't say any of that. It doesn't, it's supposed to be some grandiose speech of knowledge in an attempt to impress these people.
And
The
they don't
Bible
care.
says, well, the Bible says in Proverbs that we shouldn't impress these people at all.
Mm-mm.
It says you shouldn't impress them at all. There's no reason to. You shouldn't. It says that you shouldn't desire the things that that evil people do. And how do you, oh, Tim, how could they be so evil? Well, all your courthouses, they're temples. I hate to break it to you, America, but that's what they are. They're all temples. You ever notice you hardly ever see windows in them anymore? In the new courthouses nowadays, they don't have windows in the courtroom. You notice that? They're doing everything they can to keep Yahweh out of those courtrooms, because those courtrooms are actually temples. These are places where people are gaslit, where people are manipulated to do things that they normally would not do. Okay. Now, sometimes that can be an advantage. If you're trying to get a criminal to fess up or whatever else, sometimes that can be an advantage. But when you're creating something out of nothing, that's abuse. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to deal with that kind of stuff, because I've had to deal with it. And I could show you how you make them all go away. And it's not something fun to do. It's not something I like to do. But you're going to push the button and find out and see if it works or not. Come push it. That's what I say. And it's
and then I see like you see on the TikToks and stuff, especially whenever they're breaking the windows trying to get into the cars because you don't want to come out and this and that and the other. That is so unnecessary because, I find that a lot of people are, like you say, the common law in the back seat, but they have no presentment. They have no anything like that, And it's just ridiculous. And that's one thing I like about the class. You say, okay, this is XYZ. This is what you're going to present. This is what you're going to show the public, and this is what you're going to say. And this is what you would do. And, you get to this situation to where either the cop's either going to give you a ticket or he's not, plain and simple.
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree. No, totally. Thank you all for the comments. Thank you guys. I'm watching them. I'm seeing them. Just checking to make sure we got any other ones here. Something we're also going to be talking about in the class too is that, did you know that your home or your car is an extension of your home in a lot of states? A lot of you guys that have the stand your ground rule in your state, check it out. Your car may be an extension of your home. It is here in Texas. So that changes things dramatically. What happens if a cop comes running into your living room and goes, aha? What if he comes in here and does that? He's a criminal, isn't he? So when you see these guys ripping open people's doors and doing things like that, I don't see that happen much in Texas. I really don't. I mean, it happens here, but it doesn't happen like as often as I see it happens everywhere else. But it happens a lot other places. And all I can speak for is everybody in Texas. But if you have that stand your ground law and you've got somebody breaking into your car like that, and it's over just a traffic citation, you got a serious claim. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you how to move that. I'm going to show you how to make that happen. Another thing we talk about too, Natasha, is those fee schedules. A lot of people have fee schedules out there. Hold on a second. Nebraska is that way. Missouri is that way. I'm getting a notice about that. Getting some good feedback. Thank you. Wow, I didn't know that. Cool. Right on. So you may have a point of argument. If these guys opened up your door, came into your living room, came into your car, you may have a point of argument. And you may actually argue something that nobody's ever argued in your state. It's that fresh. You know, other things that we're going to talk about in the class too is when do these cops need to read you your rights? As soon as they start asking questions. And then at that point, now you can start narrowing this down to actual probable cause rather than sitting there playing with them and go, what's your bed number? What's your bed number? Nobody's even writing it down. You hear these guys, they do that. What's your name and bed number? Like it's and guys, they know that this is some psychological game to bump them off their game. They know that's why you're doing that. Come on, James Freeman. Y'all know better. We can do this better. We can do this a lot better. Okay. And in this class, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how that gets done. How do we get there? How do you keep a situation that may get pretty hot? How do we slow that down? How do we slow that down, Natasha? How do we do that? I mean, we don't have to give away the whole cow with the milk, but I mean, how do we do that?
Be nice, level-headed, and smile.
Well, that works for you. And that's what your pappy told you. That's not what I taught you. No. You have to always be contracting, you silly goose. No, you have to be contracting. And if you know how to contract and you're appropriately contracting, not just being a pain in the ass over there barking stuff in the wind. Okay, no, don't do that. But if you're effectively contracting and you're effectively communicating with these people, you really have an opportunity. And you have an opportunity to keep things under control. You have an opportunity to leave that situation in one piece without any bullet holes. Okay. These people will do some silly stuff. Okay. I have personally been the victim of cops just making up stuff. And those of you guys on TikTok, check out my TikTok channel. You're going to see where I'm actually reading an arrest affidavit in like 3 videos on there. And there's a part 1, 2, and 3. And I'm reading an arrest affidavit that actually makes no sense at all. We're going to be talking about, when do you get that arrest affidavit? When is it appropriate to get it? Well, when you get arrested. But in your court case, when is it appropriate to get it? Huh? And know that when you get that little doohickey, you got your eyes on the prize. Okay? That takes everything down to a nickel. So we can define things and you can properly go in there and have an exchange, Natasha, rather than these guys that start complaining about the French flag or the carpet is too red or the seats are too plush or whatever else they want to cry about. That's all narcissism, man. And that only works for the cops. It didn't work for us. That spell work is dated. Those guys do this every day. Okay. I mean, seriously, they really do. And you can tell, when I've been around officers, Natasha, they're, you know, because I was a landscaping contractor for 13 years and I used to do a lot of work for officers and detectives and things like that all the time. I used to go by and take care of their houses and make sure they looked good. And we had to, because they were always out doing other things. Let's just say that. Anyway. And so, you know, I had to deal with these guys like all the time and it's not hard. Okay. But here's what I will tell you. When they're on the job, they're completely a different person than when they are in the public. When they got their Batman t-shirts on, they're not the same people. These are dangerous people. Did you hear what I said? Dangerous. They're dangerous because they've somehow walked into a job, Natasha, where they can lie every single day. And they can do it in the name of justice. But when you really think about it, has nothing to do, justice has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with just us, them. This is what we're going to be talking about in this class. Some heavy stuff, man. But I will show you how to navigate through these waters. And when they see you swim, and they will, when they see you swim, they're going to put a little check mark next to your name, and you will never be in a ticket court again. You don't believe me? Go down to your ticket court, Natasha. Go down there to the next ticket hearing, whenever they have all the tickets there, and you're going to see everybody's poor in that room, or they're young kids. Every single one of them. They're either minorities or they're young kids in there, or both. and they're just barely getting by, a lot of them. And what do? They're strapping them down, and they're contracting, and they're making payment plans with them and all kinds of stuff. Like they just have to pay this off when they can't pay their bills, when they can't feed their families, so they can't do stuff like this. This is a serious problem in this country. Okay. And somebody turned all this witchcraft into a business. I'm going to show you how to beat that stuff. I'm going to show you how to be the righteous one and walk in the door and be such a blinding light. They don't want to talk to you anymore. They don't want to hear nothing from you. Now I'll tell you about, I had a student one day. He came in and he was a new student, and he says, Tim, I know I just took the class, travel driving class. And he says, but I have court tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. He goes, and it's a trial tomorrow. I set it for trial. And I was like, did you file any motions? Mm-mm. Do you have anything set to be heard? Mm-mm. Oh boy, what do we do? And just last month, by the way, one of our students, our repenting students, actually got a DWI with beer cans. And I read the arrest affidavit. Beer cans in the back seat. He failed the toxicology report. He was weaving. He was guilty. Okay. But because we understood the players and we understand the rules of equity, that man's a free man today. He's a repentive free man today. I would not have helped this guy unless he called me up and felt really bad and said, I really need your help. And we prayed about it. And I felt convinced, and I've been in touch with him since then. I think he's okay. But he's actually a good kid too. He's only 22. But, and he walked out of that situation with no convictions, no nothing. And nobody knew what to do. Here was the difference, Natasha. I showed him how to operate in equity. So getting back to my other little story, my friend, my new student shows up. He's a Hispanic guy. He's an old school guy. He's probably, late 50s, and he's had a TBI. He's had some things happen, and, he's not sharp. He's not real sharp, but he's a real nice guy. He's just been through some stuff. But anyway, he's got tattoos on his neck all the way down like this, and he's all sleeved out, and he's from the barrio. And boy, I looked at him and I said, yep, they saw you coming. They sure did. And I'm going to tell you, man, our cops profile people. They're looking for people that are poor, can't defend themselves, and more importantly, the ones that don't know how to speak English. They really like to get those guys. And they get them because they don't know how to defend themselves. And at that point, all they can either do is pay or go to jail. And if most of these people, when you walk into these courtrooms and you see all those people there, all of them are hardworking people. All of these people, when you see them in there, they're cement workers. These are people that are, cutting your grass. I know, because I used to have to go in and deal with my guys and tickets all the time when I had my landscaping company. I did. And they got to start to see me keep coming in there. And I kind of was like, hey, stop writing my guys' tickets because we're trying to work. You're going to interrupt my day. We're going to come in and interrupt your day. And that's exactly what we did. So anyway, so I tell my guy, he goes, I'm going into court tomorrow. What do I do? So here's a free one for everybody. And this is one I use in my class. So he goes into court, and I tell them, put the cop on the stand. Put the cop on the stand. He said, yes, put the cop on the stand. So he puts the cop on the stand, and I said, here's what you ask him. Is it your policy to get involved with civil matters while you're in uniform? And the officer is going to say, no, certainly not. So hypothetically, officer, or even non-hypothetically, if somebody were to say, this gets their guards down. If somebody were to say that they saw you involved in a civil action, some kind of civil, you were getting involved in some civil stuff while you're in your uniform there, would you be able to remember that incident? He goes, certainly not. And he goes, so you haven't been involved in anything? And then I told him what the date of the ticket was from this on and this on. From the point that this ticket was written up until today, you haven't been involved in any civil matters, nothing, while you've been in uniform. He goes, oh, no, certainly not. And if we did today, you wouldn't be able to remember them, would you? And he goes, nope, sure wouldn't. Judge, I want to move for dismissal today. He said, why? Well, there was no property damage. There was no harm to persons. And there's that other thing that I'm going to talk about in class. And there's no proof of that on the record today. There's no proof on the record today that would show that he was speeding or whatever the situation was. And because the officers testified under oath today that he wouldn't remember writing a civil citation to anybody. He said he doesn't get involved in civil issues at all. He says, Your Honor, he testified under oath today, says he gets involved in none of this stuff, and he says he wouldn't remember it. That means he didn't remember this one either, and he also testified under oath that that happened too. That's called impeaching your witness, by the way. And he said, I want to move for dismissal today for failure to state a claim, Judge. The judge dismissed his case. Why? Resentment, acceptance, response. These are the three elements of equity that we're going to really explore through this ticket process. And I'm going to show you how to break this stuff down. And more importantly, I'm going to show you 2 or 3 other cases probably in that class where I was repeatedly they repeatedly sent me information to continuously show up to court. And you're going to see that I didn't show up to court, not one single time. That ticket's dismissed today. They even refiled it on me, little bastards. They did. It took 6 months. 6 months they were playing with me. But guess what? Nobody wants to write me tickets anymore. It's like no fun. This is where we need to be in this process, because if we're not, Natasha, they're going to keep looking at us like prey. Okay? And they're going to do that. Don't let anybody reduce you. You guys are all special. Every one of you, you're special. Okay? These people that want to put themselves in a grandiose position over you, and they start acting like these narcissistic people, and they start doing stuff like this, that's when you need to start realizing that they're not people. They're not like you. They're not built like you. They don't have empathy. They don't have the ability to self-reflect, and they certainly don't have the ability to tell the truth if somebody shows them what they're doing is wrong. So what do? We use equity, which is the very same thing they use with us. And here's what's cool about using equity. Equity is a private road, okay? And once you learn how to operate on this private road, nobody's looking at what color you are. Nobody's looking at if you're a female. Nobody's looking at any of this stuff, because they're looking at the elements of your equity. They're looking at the elements of, did you fulfill this? Is it believable? Are the people acting as such? These are some hints from my class. But they're looking for those things. And if you've got acceptance, if you've got performance, if you've got honor, dishonor, you have the means to enforce these things. We're going to be talking about this. And Michael left a really great comment up here. He says, Tim, another great call. For who's interested, I took the driving classes and they are well worth it, and we'll keep on learning. Peace be to you, but he's got to go. Well, hey, brother, man, thank you for being on the call, man. Yahweh be with you and your family and all that you're doing out there. We're about to close it all up anyway tonight. But if you guys are interested in learning how to do this stuff properly and really understanding this whole travel driving thing, set an appointment with me, houseofyah.communityoutreach.com/workshops. Go to my website, okay? Set an appointment with me. Call my office tomorrow during normal business hours. You can go to my website, houseofyah.communityoutreach.com, and check us out. We've done some stuff, man. We definitely have the juice. Now, something I want to also talk about real briefly before we shut it down. So, do you remember 4 years ago, Natasha, we knew each other 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, do you remember I said that all this repudiation affidavits, this is a temporary thing. This is a Trojan horse. These guys are going to come in, and all these 3 million people that are here, they're going to have to go. And I said this 4 years ago. And when they have to go, guess who's going to go with them? All these people that jumped in the car and did this affidavit of repudiation of citizenship, let me tell you something. There's already people being picked up. It's happening. So if you guys have done this, you've done an affidavit for repudiation of citizenship. My goodness, I talked to somebody today, Natasha, and or yesterday, and they said they mailed it to the president. Oh, I mean, that's just like giving him the finger. I mean, just like, really? So yes, there is an official process to, unclaim all this. And I realize there's some deception, but understand that you guys were duped, every one of you. Okay. And right now, this is the largest deportation of people since the Tartarian days, I think, when they brought in all the Cabbage Patch Kids in from England. I don't think we've seen deportations of people leaving the country or coming into the country like this ever before. And we're seeing it right now. INS agents are knocking on people's doors, and don't worry, they're not separating families. They're taking the whole family. You know what? If one of you guys are in there, then they're taking them all. Or if two are in the household, well, we're not going to separate kids. So, let's go. They're going to. This is happening right now. Okay. And we need to learn to operate in this country. We've got too much murk in the water going on right now. Too many things going on. And the way to get ahead of this deal is knowledge. The way to get ahead of this deal is to understand the players and understand who's in the game. Natasha, did you have anything you wanted to add to? Oh, of course. I just wanted to put it in there.
No, as always, I think you had mentioned last night about talking about taxes a little bit, but I think we kind of ran out of time on that. But if anybody wants to take the class, I'll be glad to share my information either next Monday or if you take the class, I can also talk about it then as well. So,
well, next week we're definitely going to talk about it. We're going to definitely talk about it. And don't think I didn't forget about you, because I didn't. We're going to definitely talk about it, because we actually have tax equity and discharge coming up. Man, TikTok is over here just doing this right now. Anyway, tax equity and discharge. You guys want to learn discharge? This is going to be happening on the 11th and the 12th of February. So next week will definitely be appropriate to talk about how all the tax stuff happened, what happened, how did it all go? Is Tim Damron full of crap or not? That's what we're going to be talking about next week. So, you know what? Join us next week, Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be here. Sunday night, we're going to be here for Bible study. Catch both days, man. It's going to be a good day. Close this out, Natasha. I'm sorry. You're so good.
No, that's okay. I just hope everybody enjoyed the call. I hope to see y'all in the classes in the future, and I hope everybody has a wonderful and blessed night.
All right. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody.